folks, well, those Leafs, they sure like to make it interesting, eh? Lose to the Sabres, but beat the Lightning. We're going to break it all down for you right here on the OZone.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach. We love you, Katie. I'm the Devo here to talk all things Leafs. I'm coming to you from downtown Toronto. Coach, where are you at?
Well, I'm in Central Florida tonight. Mike made the trip over here from London, and Leafs played Tampa, right? Well, hey, they're not in Tampa. They played in Toronto, but I have this lovely hotel room.
Beautiful, beautiful. Listen, folks, hit subscribe, ring the bell. You know what to do. Like, share the video, spreads the audience. Leave us a comment. We love it. We read it. We listen. Helps us get better. Okay. So I've been to a few games. A few games this week, actually. This past week, here I am at the Buffalo game with my good buddy, Rob Potwin. That was fun. That hat
I recognize that
no
guy.
longer with us anymore. Yeah, and I lost that hat as a result of Matthews scoring 3. And then I went to a game just the other day with my good buddy Tim Powell. We had a fun night. Nice to run into some subscribers before the game, too. Always nice to see some OZone fans out there. Lynn, Kirsten, thanks for the drinks. So what do we got going on here, Coach? We got a lot of goals. My advice to Leafs fans, take the over. What's going on with this team? What is happening?
Yeah. Well, hey, how come when I saw Lynn and Kirsten, they didn't buy me any drinks? I don't know. Look, Devo Ilya is really struggling. We thought we saw signs of life there when he played well against Boston in that game where they got a point out of it. Mm-hmm. But that's the exception, isn't it? He's really struggling, and he's being open about it, right? I mean, he's not feeling himself. He's down. My advice to him is the same advice that my parents gave me. If you have feelings, bubbling up, you take them and you jam them back down. Jam them down. You don't ever let your feelings out. Yeah, force them right down as deep as you can. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. No, in all seriousness, like he's just not, and the thing is, it's not physical, right? It's mental, and that's even worse. I don't know where we go here, Devo, but that's twice now where he's been pulled in the first period after giving up 3 or 4 goals. Yep. I think the first one was 3 goals on 4 shots, for goodness sake. And then if you look at those goals against Tampa, Devo, they're hitting the middle of the net, right? I mean, it's not like Kucherov, one timer. It's hitting the middle of the net. They're not picking corners on him. That Victor Hedman shot was from the dot. It can't go in at that level.
Yeah.
So that's a real challenge. But look, other than that, we've had this. You and I and KD, we did our pregame or preseason thing. Just like Denny Green said, they are who we thought they were. Their D is mediocre. We'll get into John Klingberg. We all had that he would be awful defensively, and he's living up to that billing. Mm-hmm. And the roster's constructed. We said we were going to get big years out of Matthews, Marner, and I don't think any of us had Nylander being this good, but still he's going to be good. So occasionally they can outscore their problems, and that's where we are right now. I mean, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, they're scoring at quite a clip, which is fun to watch. I guess it's a different brand of hockey. It can be a little bit frustrating too. That first line, I mean, that looks pretty good. It seems to be firing now. It was nice. I predicted last Saturday that Marner would have a big game against.
Yeah, you had a lot of that game. You did. Yeah.
But it looks like Nye's playing up on that line. You think that's going to last?
Well, it is fun to watch, but it's not fun to watch in April. That's not winning hockey. But hey, that's not what you asked me.
That's true.
Look, our loyal subscribers know I am getting tired of being right all the time here. But hey, we did one a while ago. I said Matthew Nyes, his time, he gets on that line, he's going to click. And he did. Now, it's a tiny sample size, one game, but the line looked good. It looked as good as it's been all year. With the possible exception is when Yarncroc was on there. And I don't know, like the Yarncroc, nobody would say he's the solution on that line. So maybe Sheldon Keefe's a subscriber. Maybe he heard me put Matthew Nyes on there, and he did. But look, that's great that Matthew Nyes is finding a home, and if that line really rolls, we're all happy. As Leaf fans, we're happy. That line's going to be dominant. Who's going to play against that line? They're dominant. They're all big. They're skilled. Well, Nyes is big. Matthews is huge, right? Marner's they're all skilled. But man, I wish I was wrong about this. I really do, Devo, because the fallout from it is that it means that Bertuzzi is not the solution, and we're having a hard time finding out where he's going to fit. I really wish he would fit how to fit on that line. He's an upgrade in every respect, pest, talent, whatever, to Bunting. So he should have fit. And they gave him every opportunity, and it just didn't work. And now I know we'll get into it later. I'm not sure where that guy fits. He's got to figure it out.
Yeah. So many goals the other night. It's nuts. I mean, I know we brought goaltending up at the start. It's not all goaltending, obviously. Yeah. I mean, look, when your team loses Liljegren and you're panicked because now what are we going to do on the back end? If you were relying on on Liljegren being your savior on the back end, you are not constructed defensively, to say the least. So to me, and I've been harping on this really since the summer, is the PK. I'm concerned. Obviously your goaltenders need to be your best penalty killers, but they are just not good at it right now, and that's been something the Leafs have been able to rely on. And when you're taking a lot of penalties, which the Leafs are doing, and what's with all the bench penalties? The too many men's. Like, I think we've seen more too many men already this year than they had all last year. Like, it's ridiculous.
What's the NHL record for a season? I mean, we got to be in range already. It's awful.
Yeah. It's bad. So that's coaching, right?
Well,
so if the PK is not good, and you're getting bench minors, that stuff's got to go to the coach at a certain point, right? So let me ask you this, and I know it's way too early, and the Leafs got to win against Tampa. Now, they were down 4-1. I mean, if they didn't win that game, how hot is Keefe's seat right now?
Yeah, well, there's a lot there. So it is early. The PK, we talked about it last time too. It continues to be an issue. Devo, we need a save, right? I think that's still the biggest problem with the PK is that we need a save from time to time. My goodness, that one-timer from Kucherov, he's not even close to getting over there. So PK systems is coaching. Personnel, and we talked about this last time, is the roster construction, and it's not as good. And you're right, you lose Liljegren, who is not the savior. He's not Chris Pronger. Neither is Jake McCabe. In fact, Jake McCabe's numbers before he got hurt, I hate to do this to the subscriber base because we're probably feeling good about this win. But need I remind you, they were worse than Liljegren's. He was really struggling. Yeah. But he gets back, and maybe we're better. But he's a PK guy. Because you can't have Klingberg there, right? And they're trying not to put Morgan Riley there, so he could, not because he's good. Justin Hall was there because he's good, and Gio's lost a step too. So PK is tough. Is Keefe on the hot seat? I think maybe if we're going to get into that now. But isn't that interesting? Last time we talked about a week ago, we said Leafs same record now, roughly as they were a year ago, and then they lit it up in November. And people were calling for Keefe's hand at the end of October last year. Then they
Yep.
go and lose a couple more. So going into that Tampa game, they lost 4 in a row, points in 2 of those. But 4 in a row, I don't think the Leafs lost 4 in a row at any time last year. So now that plus the non-response in Boston, where people were saying, well, maybe Keefe has told them not to respond because we don't want to get into penalty trouble. We still win this game. It just led to a lot of uncertainty. But let's take a look at the schedule here, Devo. We've got, so Leafs have lost, they've won 1 of their last 5. Got Ottawa coming in here, they're really struggling, right? Brady Tkachuk's chirping back the fan base. Should be an easy win. I don't know. Then Calgary,
There are no
they're
easy
scoring
wins.
goals, but they're really struggling too. Vancouver's good. Then there's 5 days that they get to, get acclimated over in Sweden, and there's those 2 Swedish games. If you only win 1 of the next 3 going into the Sweden trip, and if you happen to drop those ones in Sweden, now you've won 3 of your last 10. I think he gets fired at that point. If you lose all 3 here, Ottawa, Calgary, and Vancouver, he might get fired before they go. Like the two
Before, 'cause you
5-day
have all
breaks.
that time.
The 2 5-day breaks you can see with a counter before and after. That's perfect time for a guy to come in, right, and have a couple of practices to install his systems. It's not a good time to take this time off if you're Keefe.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. It seems crazy to say it, and it's a fickle time of the year because anything can happen. The league's still shaking itself out. The Leafs win the next 3 games, and we're not even talking about this probably again for the rest of the season, no matter what.
Absolutely, but Devo, don't you think if you're Keefe, you're like, well, hold on a second. This is not as skilled a team. It's not as good a team as we had last year, and we're not getting any goaltending. How can this be on me? The too many men penalties probably is, but we need time, right? We got Bertuzzi, we got Domi. They're not acclimating. I need more time. That's what I would say if I'm Keefe. How impatient is this new guy going to be for living? What do you think?
I don't know. I to be honest, I think if they had lost that game to Tampa, if things had kept going sour in that game, I actually think that things would have started to snowball. And if we get 2 more losses, I actually think he would have been terminated. I think that win against Tampa buys him that trip.
So the 34 saved his job, is what you're saying? Because Austin Matthews has been electric.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I thought I was gonna lose another hat.
Well, if you're a guy like me, you don't throw hats, right? Because I need the hat. Otherwise, there's a glare on the ice. You got guys, missing passes. I got to keep the hat on.
So we hit on it a little bit, but I just want to back up here. Let's look at. I want to talk about 4 names here. You brought up Bertuzzi before. Bertuzzi, Domi, Klingberg, Reeves. Nothing has really worked out for those guys yet.
Yeah.
I guess I should put that caveat in there. Neither of us like the Klingberg signing. In fact, we were both scratching. I'm still scratching my head about that. He's not a good player. He doesn't solve any of the problems the Leafs had. I can't fathom why on that move. But the other guys, do you see any of them being able to contribute in a meaningful way?
Oh, that's a tough question, Devo. Yeah, you and me and KD the Klingberg signing is it's just inexcusable. It's incomprehensible. You remember in our preseason thing, I said Klingberg, if you watch Klingberg defend, he's going to make Justin Hall seem like Chris Pronger, and everyone laughed. Well, it wasn't a joke. No one is laughing now. Just awful.
Yeah.
If he was contributing something offensively, maybe there's a trade-off. Like William Nylander in his early years when everyone was
Yeah.
frustrated as all hell, but with him, but at least he was scoring, right? So
Yeah.
when his scoring dried up, everybody got really mad. Then he'd score again, and then everybody calmed down. We're past that with him, not with Klingberg. But like the easiest one of the guys you mentioned to me is Ryan Reeves. Devo, 4 minutes, 32 seconds against Tampa. 4 minutes, 32 seconds. I mean, I spent more time preparing for this podcast, for God's sake. So, look, I think the experiment is done soon. Now, you said 1.3 3-year contract, so you can't take down all that cap hit if you send him down, if you waive him. But hey, you saw what happened in the NHL today, right? Jack Campbell, 3.5 more years at $5 million, he got waived. So, look, wouldn't we be more comfortable with all this talk about secondary scoring not being there if a guy like Bobby McCann was up instead? Because Nick Robertson was good right away, got an assist.
Yeah, he was.
The two guys though that are a real challenger are Bertuzzi that we talked about and Domi. Domi seemed to have some life playing center last game. Let's see how that goes. I still have concerns defensively, but Bertuzzi's got to get it figured out, Devo. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what you think, but, man, he's too good to be this bad.
Yeah, gosh, there's a real Nick Ritchie feel about this move, right? Like, it just doesn't seem to add up. You know, like you could put Reeves on a line with Matthews and Marner these days, and he's going to get points. It's confounding to me that he's not finding a way. He's done it with other teams. He's done it in other spots. I think he's going to settle in on something, and he's squeezing the stick a little tight. The pressure's getting to him a little bit, but I think we'll see. Maybe the trip to Sweden will fix him. I agree with you about Domi. I actually think Domi's had some of his better games of late.
Yeah.
He is not always going to be on the right side of the puck. He is going to ice the puck too often. But I do think he's going to have something that contributes, particularly in a bottom six role. We wanted offense from the bottom six, and maybe that's something we get from him. You know?
I do like this. Playing him at center gets him off the wall, and he really struggled on the wall. So, he can skate. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's worth a try. But you're right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Bertuzzi gets hot because of Sweden. He's from Sudbury, right? It's a lot like Sweden. Maybe he likes it over there.
Maybe he does indeed. Maybe he does. Well, there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the Leafs, folks. I'm glad you keep tuning in here. It's very important. We think you should do it every single day. And we'll be here for you, right here on the OZone.